Hi, welcome for QTP session. Today we're gonna see topic called object repository. Correct? So this topics we're gonna see today. What is object repository? How to add or edit, delete objects from object repository. How to write test script and using object repository. How we can highlight, locate, filter object from object repository, and what is object spy, which is very important topic, right? Next, what is local and share object repository and how to use this object repository type in QTP. What is object repository manager and how to compare and merge to share object repository. Correct? So this we're gonna see today one by one, right? So let's understand what is first object repository. Fine. Object repository, right? So let's split the word object plus repository. Fine. So anything QTP understand as a object. Okay, object. Now what is repository? Repository means what? Okay, repository is one place where we store something. Correct? So now what is object repository? So object repository is a place where QTP store all objects and its property and value during recording mode. And when we click run button, QTP compare all that objects from test script to object repository, and if it's match, then it will execute exact same operation on application. Fine. So let's see how we use object repository with an example. Correct? Fine. So today we are going to test application LinkedIn, which is one web application. Okay. So if you want to open LinkedIn website, write command system util dot run double quote I explorer dot exe comma fine. So what this line does, so it will open LinkedIn website. Alright, so let's try to run and see whether this syntax is correct. So let's click run button, click OK. As soon as we click OK, so now QTP will execute this statement, and now it will open LinkedIn website. Fine. So in LinkedIn we are going to test today sign up functionality. Okay, sign up functionality. Correct. So let's try to record this. Correct. Let's try to record this. So keep half of a screen application and half of a screen QTP. Alright, so now we have started recording, but before that we are opening object repository. Correct? Object repository. So where object repository is located in QTP, right? And what is path? So go to menu, go to resource and open object repository, right? Shortcut is Control R. Fine. So open object repository. Fine. So this time before recording we are opening object repository also, and now we are starting recording, and now just parallel observe when we record what happened in object repository. Fine. So now click record button. Okay, click web, it's a web application, and start record. So we are in recording mode. Fine. It's blinking here in recording. Alright, so now we are entering here first name, last name, email ID, so here you can observe in object repository whatever action we are doing on application. QTP is storing here some objects. See, QTP is storing some objects here. Fine. And also QTP is generating here script. Okay, click join now button. Okay, and last close the browser. Right, recording is done. Click stop. As soon as we click stop, here we can see in object repository it displaying some objects. Okay, it displaying couple of things, okay, in this object repository, right? So let's try to understand this. Okay, fine. So when we start recording, QTP store all objects in object repository. Fine. So every statement have a corresponding objects in object repository. Every statement have a corresponding objects in object repository. Alright. So we can see here each and every statement there is a corresponding objects in object repository, right? So let's say first statement is what? Okay, enter valid first name. Enter valid first name. So here we can see it displaying here first name. Okay, it displaying here first name. So likewise each and every statement there is a corresponding objects are present in object repository. Okay, and this we call test objects. Okay, this we call test object. Even some people call it's a test object model also. Fine, and here it will display everything like a tree. So here world largest professional is what? Parent object. Okay, and these are the child object of this. Okay, these are the child object of this. So we can see here it displaying all objects get stored in object repository. Fine. Now what happen when we execute? Okay, what happen when we execute? So when we click run button, so QTP compare this each and every words, okay, this each and every objects from this test script to object repository, and then it will run on application if it's same, if it's a exact same. Fine. So now let's try to debug this script. How to debug? Go to menu, step into, and click OK. Correct. So now we are started debug mode, right? Now click step into. So we are in next line now. So now QTP will execute LinkedIn, correct, and open LinkedIn website. Fine. So now we are executing each and every step one by one. Okay, and now we can see here each and every objects are stored here. So QTP compare first from test script to object repository, and then it will run finally on application. So now let's try to debug each and every statement one by one. Alright, so now we can see QTP is entered first name, last name, password, correct. Now click join now button, and now last step it will close the browser, right? We are at line number 20. Fine, and debug, it will close the browser. Fine. So this way normally QTP work when we do execution, right? So it will check each and every objects from test script to object repository, and then it will run on application. Fine. Just for our understanding purpose, now we are changing directly any object name in a test script. Okay, so we are changing here in line number 4, world largest professional to Google. Fine. So in test script we can see it displaying Google, and here it displaying world largest professional. Fine. So we have directly changed that objects in a test script. Fine. And now let's try to debug one more time. Let's see what happened. Fine. So here object name is different test script, and in object repository object name is different. Correct. And now let's try to debug one more time. Alright. So QTP has open LinkedIn website from first step execution. Right. So now we have started debug mode, right? So go to debug and click step into. Alright. Fine. So just make sure when you debug a run, keep screen position proper, so we can properly observe how things are going step by step, right? Okay, so always debug rather run test script. This is the best way of learning QTP, right? So always debug the test script. All right. All right, so now we are in debug mode. Now we again click debug, step into. So as soon as we click step into, immediately we get some run error, right? Right. So now let's try to understand what is that error. So it is QTP displaying here error. The Google browser object was not found in object repository. Check the object repository to confirm that object is exist or find the correct name of that object. Right. So line number 4, there is some error. Fine. So why there is error? Let's try to investigate. So in our test script, object name is what Google, and here it's world largest professional. So there is a mismatch, correct, between test script and object repository, and hence it's throwing error. Fine. So there is one option, we can click stop or we can skip this execution. Fine. So we want to continue execution, so we can click skip. So now Qt will skip this step and will start execution or debug for remaining steps. Fine. If you want to stop execution, so click stop. Fine. So why it's giving errors? So we have learned that there is a mismatch between test script object and object repository. Hence it's giving error. Got it? Okay. So now let's correct this. So browser. Fine. So we have correct this object name, right? Now we can see here, like each and every object have a right side property name, okay, property name and property description also. Fine. So for example, we select last name, so right side we can see object property name last name, class web edit, repository local, which I am explaining in very few minutes. Description, we can see type text, name, last name, HTML tag, inputs, right? So here right side it displaying all object property and left side displaying object names. Fine. And every object have its own property and value, okay, property and values. Fine. So for example, if we take mouse, so mouse is one object, okay, mouse is an object, right? So we use mouse for doing some operation, correct? So mouse is an object, it have a property and value, right? Property, for example, color, right? Value is what? Let's say black, right? Logo is what? Let's say property. Value is what? Logitech. Fine. So every object, it contains its property and values, correct? Property value. Same way, if you select other object, join now, so displaying join now, okay, right side property and value, name is join now, class is web button, and for that object we can see description and this value. So when we record QTP store object along with that property and values, okay, property and value. Fine. Okay, so this is our object repository, right? This is our object repository, correct? So now what we can do, we remove this test script now, alright, and we have store all here some objects in object repository, okay, in object repository, right? Now what we are going to do, we are going to delete this all objects, okay, and we are going to learn how to add, edit and delete any object from object repository, right? So now we are deleting all these objects from object repository. How we can delete? Select parent object, right click and delete. Fine. But here we are trying to delete parent object, hence it will delete each and everything. Fine. If you want to delete child object, select that object, right click and delete. So that object get deleted from object repository. Fine. But now we want to delete parent object, okay, So it will delete each and every object from object repository. Now our object repository is totally empty, right? Totally empty. Now what we are going to do, we are going to add each objects one by one in object repository according our plan. So first we'll add first name, last name, email ID, password, join now button. Correct? So like every steps there is a corresponding objects are there. So this all objects we are adding one by one in object repository. Correct? So how we can add? Let's understand. So go to object repository. Fine. Go to object repository. Go to object repository menu. Go to object and select add object to local. Select add object to local. Right. Make sure when we use object repository, application must be parallelly open. Right. Application must be parallelly open. Fine. So now we are trying to add first object, first name. Right. So go to menu, object, add object to local. Right. Select that. As soon as we select, you can see here QTP is get disappear. Right. QTP is get disappear, and our focus on application. Plus our mouse cursor is changed to mouse button, and we have to instruct QTP that I want to add first name object. Fine. So tell QTP that I want to add first name object. So click on that object. Alright. So as soon as we click, QTP will catch that object and it will display hierarchy of selected object. So displaying here browser world largest professional parent object, page and web edit first name. If this hierarchy is correct, okay, this hierarchy is correct, and then click OK. Right. So this is that object first name location. So it's present in browser inside that page inside that there is edit box first name. So that our first name object is located or stored. So click OK. As soon as we click OK, now that object is get added in object repository. So now we are not going to record test scripts. We are going to add objects in object repository one by one to create test script, to write test scripts. Fine. Likewise, let's add each objects one by one. Now last name, email address, right, password, join now button. Fine. So now each and every object is added in object repository. Fine. So one option is what? We can record test script, okay, and QTP will generate test scripts. Correct. Second option, add objects in object repository one by one, okay, and we can write test scripts. Okay, we can write test script. Fine. So we have to write test script according to method parent child method. Correct. So right here first parent object. Right. So in this test object, what is parent object? So we can see world largest professional is a parent object name, and class name is what? Browser. Right. Class name is what? Browser. So write first here browser, open bracket, close bracket. Fine. So as soon as we write browser world largest professional, so browser is what? It's a parent object class. World largest professional is object name. Right. Which we have learned in day one. As soon as we hit dot, it will display here some methods which in green color, but we require here child object. So write here page, open bracket. As soon as we write open bracket, QTP complete object name, and we have to complete with a close bracket. Correct. So we are writing this steps for first name, which is one edit box, right? So after this we have to write second child object, which is web edit box. So this color means what? Object, child object, and this color means what? Method or operation. Fine. So currently we need a web edit. Select web edit and write open bracket. As soon as we select open bracket, we can see displaying here 4 options. Right. because there are 4 edit box are there here currently. Fine. So we require first name object, select that, hit enter and close the bracket. Alright, hit dot. Fine. So it's a edit box, so here we set the value, so right here set. Okay, right here set. Correct. Okay, same way we have to write each and every step test script, right? So this was a step wherein we have created test script for step called enter valid first name. Enter valid first name. Also what we can do here, we can declare variables, right? Now what is variable, right? So variable is a very fundamental of any scripting or programming language where that value is get stored. So in QTP we use variable called dim, right? There is only one variable dim, right? So for each and every objects here for edit box we are declaring variable. So for first name we are writing v first name, comma v last name, comma v email ID. Fine. Next v password. So this step what we call, right, declare variable or define variable. Fine. Step number 2, right? Step number 2, each and every variable we have to assign values, right? So right here v first name equal to test first name, right? V last name equal to, let's say, test last name. Fine. V email ID equal to, right here, fine, v password equal to, we have to write password, right? Now we can't write password like, let's say, test. Okay, so password, it's a thumb rule that it has to be always encrypted mode, right? Password has to be always encrypted mode. Fine. So now how we can encode the password, right? So go to start, go to all programs, go to folder QTP, go to tools, go to number 4 tool, password encoder. So this password encoder will enable you to encode the password, correct? So click on password encoder, right, and write that password which you want to encode. So write password and read this text, enter the password in password edit box and click generate to generate the encode string, right? So now we are clicking on button generate. Fine. So as soon as we click generate button, okay, now QTP has encoded that string, right? So now this we can use here. Fine. So there is separate button is there to copy that. Click copy, close this, and now here we can use that password, right, which is encoded. Fine. So this is the perfect way of encode the password. Fine. So step number 2, assign value to each variables, right? Assign value to each variable. Step 1, declare or define variable. Step 2, assign value to each variable. Fine. Next step, right? So now we can use this variable in test scripts. So use variables in test scripts. Fine. So now line number 13, after set we can write v first name. So just write first 3 character of a variable and hit control space, so it will complete that whole variable, correct? Fine. So this step we have entered first name. Now next step we are going to create test script for enter valid last name, right? So we have to write here first browser, which is parent object, open bracket, close bracket, dot page, open bracket, close bracket. Fine. So this everything is coming object name from object repository actually, because all objects are stored in object repository. So it's coming in our test script, right? So some stuff it's not get stored in object repository, it will not come in our test script, right? So this all objects name it's coming because of it's get stored in object repository. Fine. Now right here web edit last name, correct? Method set space right here v last name, right? So we are declaring here variable. Alright, so now we are not recording test script, we are writing test script, which is very important thing, right? Next step we are going to enter valid email ID. Alright, so now right here browser dot page dot web edit open bracket, right? And here we are going to use email dot method set space v email, right? Okay, so just write first 3 character of variable or 2 character of variable and hit control space. Fine. Next line for enter invalid password, right? So right here browser world largest professional dot page dot web edit into bracket web edit dot, this is the password, hence we have to use here method or operation set secure. Fine. So set secure method does what? It will set the encrypted value out in edit box, right? Set secure method, it will encrypt the value of an edit box. So hence we are using set secure. Okay. So set secure is method. After that we have to write this value, or we can use here variable which we have declared v password. Fine. Next step we are clicking on join now button. So let's keep in comment, click join now button. Fine. Browser dot page dot, this time this is button, so we have to use here parent object class web button. Okay, web button. So we can see here join now, right? Join now is an object. Okay, join now is an object, and we can see class is what? Web button. Okay, so this way we can see each object class from object repository, and we can write in our test script, right? So join now is an object name, correct, and class is web button, correct? So select web button. Okay, write open bracket close bracket dot, on button we do operation click, right? And here we have done operation click, so we are using here method click. Fine. Now next step wherein we are closing the browser, so right here close browser. Fine. So we can write here browser dot close all tabs, right? So this step does what? It will close all browser tab, right? It will close that particular one browser all tabs. Fine. So now this way our script is ready. Fine. So one method is what? We can record and QTP will generate test script, and all objectives get stored in object repository. right? Second way of creation of test script is what? Add first all objects in object repository first, then for each object write test script. Correct? Each object write test script. Also very important thing, each and every object has to be present object repository first and then test scripts. Correct? Some objects are extra in object repository, that is fine. Okay, but each and every object has corresponding test script details, right? Okay, but maybe some test script corresponding object is not present, so when we run it will throw error. Correct? So every test script lines corresponding object has to be present in object repository. Fine. So now this script is ready, right? This script is ready, and now let's try to debug this and check whether it's a correct or not. Fine. So now go to menu, debug, step into, click OK. Fine. So now we're in debug mode. Fine. Always when we debug, open debug viewer also if we have declared variable. Correct? So how to open debug viewer? So go to menu, go to view, go to debug viewer. Right? So we can see in backend what things are going. Correct? So how to open debug viewer? Go to view and select debug viewer. Alright, so we have opened here a debug viewer. Alright, so first column we can see that variable name, second column we can see value, right, which is displaying empty, and type is displaying user defined because this variable we have defined. Correct? So now let's start debug further. Step into, alright, so now we have started debug mode. Shortcut for debug is what? F11. Okay, F11. So as soon as we start debug, and for declare variable we have assign value, we can see in debug viewer also. Correct? So we can see now after executing line number 5, 6, 7, 8, in debug viewer we can see each variable there is a value it displaying, and type it displaying string. So string is what? So string is one data type. Okay, so any value which is in double quote, so type is string. Okay, type is string, right? If we declare here one variable and give value 1, 2, 3, 4, so type is integer. Okay, so there are various types are there. So any value which is in double quote, right? Here QTP consider that as a string. Fine. So now let's debug further and let's see QTP is giving exact value for that object or not. So go to debug, step into, right? So now we can see here line number 13. After set we have given variable v first name, and v first name this is the value, right? And this value exactly is going on application. Okay, so we have declared each and every variable and we have assigned values to it, and now it's going to corresponding objects, right? Now let's start further debug. Correct? Email ID we can see here, debug, password, and close. Alright, so as soon as we click close, so script is get closed. Fine. So this way also we can create the test script. Okay, this way also we can create the test script. Alright, so we have learned how to add any objects in object repository. How to add any objects in object repository. Fine. So this way we can add any objects in object repository. Fine. So in future maybe some changes came in application, right? In that form, client is asked to add some new two fields, right? So we can add that objects in object repository, correct? And for that we can create the test script also, right? We can create the test script also. Fine. So for that added new object on application, we not required to record whole test script again from scratch, right? Just add that objects in object repository and create test script for that. one more thing we have to remember, we have to write test script in a order. Okay, we have to write test script always in order, right? So if we don't keep proper order, right, we'll not get desired results, correct? So always make sure write test script in a order, correct? Now we are learning how to rename any object, how to delete any object, and how to rename any objects. Fine. So why we are renaming this object, or why we are editing this object? Fine. So first of all, if you see here test script, line number 13, 15, 17, 19, 21. So this script is too long, right? And we want to make it shorter or tiny, correct? So just for our reference purpose, what we are doing here, for each this lines, browser and page, all object name is same. Okay, all object name is same. So what we are doing in object repository now, to make it test script shorter, we are renaming this object. Select that parent object, go to right side name, and we can rename from here, or select that object, right click, and we can rename from here also, or go to edit, and here we can rename also. Fine. So this is the browser object, hence we are writing here browser B. Fine. And we have renamed this object for our convenient purpose. And now click outside. As soon as we click outside, so that object which you have renamed from object repository, it get also modified in test script, in expert view as well as keyword view also. See, right, keyword view also displaying browser for B. Fine. So we have kept here like object name alias, right? We can say that way. Fine. Same way here, this is the page, right? So page is common for each and every statement, and we want to make script smaller. So we are renaming this object. So right here P underscore, it's a home page, right? So right here P home. Fine. So as soon as we rename this, right, in test script we can see that here page name P home. Fine. So we can give any name, but it has to be logical, right? It has to be logical. Fine. So in keyword view also we can see it displaying P underscore home. Fine. So this way we can rename any object in object repository. Fine. One more thing here, sometime client give some change request, client give some modification request. So that time our developer will change that object in object repository. Here developer will change objects in application. Also we have to change that object on object repositories, right? So now client has asked to developer to change this object, join now to register, right? Join now to register, right? So now developer will change this just object text. He is not going to change this object height, width, or other property value. Developer is just changing this object text, right, on application, and hence we have to also change that object in object repository. Fine. So now we are changing this object join now to register, because we got change request from client. Okay, so we have changed join now to now register, so it got changed to register. Fine. Also we can see here for password in our object repository displaying web edit. So web edit is a HTML name, okay, HTML name on this page. So we have to change this web edit to password for our reference purpose, correct? So we have changed to password now. Fine. And now we look finally this test script. It's very small, very easy to understand, and we have customized this script according our convenient purpose. Fine. Okay, now this script is ready, right? And now let's try to run one more time to check this all syntax are proper or not, right? Okay, so now click run button, or we can debug also. Let's try to debug this. Right, so now we are in debug mode. So now we have modified browser page and couple of objects, and now see script is working proper now. See, script is working proper even after modification. Fine. Okay, so this way we can edit any objects or rename any objects in object repository. Fine. So we have just renamed browser and page name because for our convenient purpose we want to make script shorter, okay, or tiny, hence we have changed browser or page name. So it's not mandated to change browser or page name. This we have done for convenient purpose. Fine. Same way we have changed here button register because we have got change request from client that button name has to be registered, not join now. So we have changed in object repository. It get reflect in a test script immediate. Fine. So this way we can add any objects in object repository, rename, and also we have seen how to delete also. Fine. If we want, we can add any extra objects in object repository also. Fine. So this is the way wherein we can create test scripts. So add first objects and write test script. Fine. There is a second method also to create test scripts. So here we are commenting this all line, and we are learning next method to create test script. So what we can do, we can add objects in object repository first, and second we can create the test script. Okay, we can create the test script. So now how we can create test script with other method? So that is drag and drop method. Fine. So first step is our enter valid first name. So select that objects in object repository, right, drag that from object repository and drop in a test script. Correct. So very simple and easy way. Second, select last name, email ID, password, fine, register button. Fine. So as soon as we do drag and drop, QTP will generate here test script. We are not required to write here test script also. Fine. So many people they use this method wherein they add objects in an object repository and they do drag and drop. Fine, which is also very easiest way. Now what we can do, after set we can declare here variables, right, because this script is not complete. So right here v first name for this statement, last name, correct. Here we have to write set v email ID, right, password has to be always set secure, so method set secure space write variable v password, correct, and our script is ready now, right. And last step we have close the browser, so write browser b dot close, or we can use close all tab also, right. Fine. So now use here close all tabs, so it will close all tabs and close browser window also. Fine. So now let's try to debug one more time and check with this method our script is correct or not. Fine. Drag and drop method. So now start debug, step into, click OK. Fine. Start debug, F11, step into. So we can see as soon as we start debug, these are the variables, values, type, okay, and now we should put proper values in edit box one by one, correct, and last close all tabs. Fine. Okay, so this drag and drop method is also very popular. Okay, so many people they add objects in object repository, and then after this Okay, they write test script, or we can do drag and drop method. So use method which is convenient and easy for you. Alright.